Hello everyone, I'm Renowned Zero, and we're back again after a couple of days talking about some more Rippaverse Detractors, and we got some other interesting things to talk about. But first, before we get started, we've got the short box that just recently launched. You can go ahead and grab that on the ISOM number 2 campaign. It stores roughly 50 ISOM number 2s, and we will check on the campaign itself. As of the recording of this video, currently over $2 million, so now Eric July has back-to-back multi-million-dollar campaigns, 2.027 million, 11,082 cover A's, 11,509 cover B's, 3,657 cover C's. This is, of course, the Shane Davis cover that only has 5,000. It is both foil and embossed, so make sure you get in where you fit in. 1,786 cover D's, with almost close to 2,000 total books donated. 16,778 purchasers. Now, he did make a little short clip about the $2 million mark a couple of days ago. We'll just listen to that real quick.
ISOM number 2 officially hits 2 million in sales. This is a testament to this community. Your enthusiasm for our projects is inspiring. Let's not undermine how significant this is. This right here is a different type of campaign. We don't have signed raw copies like ISOM number 1 or a concept art book, and the cards are no longer available. But more importantly, this is ISOM number 2. And in our business, we know number 2s are not going to do anything near what the number 1 does. However, ISOM 2, as of this video, is closing in on 30,000 books being accounted for. This is half of how much we sold during the first campaign, and we still have well over a month left. We now have 2 back-to-back multi-million-dollar campaigns. It does nothing but make us want to continue to give you books that you'll be stoked about. Again, thanks to the customers, the fans, and all of these supporters. We can't wait for you to finally read ISOM number 2, which starts shipping very soon.
Shipping is estimated for July 31st. That much I do know. That is shown on the ISOM 2 campaign. So of course we still have the usual goalpost of shouldn't you be thanking Glenn Beck? Of course, insinuating something here. Who are you and what are you crying about? AstroTurf. July is a $3 bill. Of course, Glenn Beck from The Blaze. Why are you sending me this? Is this the part where you pretend you don't owe your whole public existence to Glenn Beck? Is there another part to this? There's the part where he pretends he didn't lose 50% of his funding between ISOM 1 and 2. Everybody knows. No. This is the part where someone who is transparent and realistic about their business knows that in pretty much every comic series, 2 typically does less money than number 1. So
ISOM number 2
I don't know why people aren't essentially having these same complaints about mainstream comics. You only have this complaint with Rippa because you disagree with either the way he's doing it or his politics or the way he's getting the money to fund this. It's very interesting how that works. But the big announcement today was, of course, the Alpha Core number 1 artist was announced. So we have this video from him, of course.
Olá, meu nome é Joey Bennett. Durante 30 anos eu desenvolvi quadrinhos para grandes editores americanos. Nesse momento, eu me junto a Chuck Dixon, gênio.
Yes, so he joins Chuck Dixon as the artist for Alpha Core number 1, being written by Chuck Dixon, of course. And here we have some artwork that comes directly from the Alpha Core number 1 book, drawn by Joe Bennett. It is confirmed by Chuck Dixon himself, as someone asked, is this art from the book? Yup, definitely art from the book. I guess paying some homage to this right here. So this is the pencil and ink from Alpha Core number 1 and Superman over here. So moving on, we have the big story where the Black Lightning creator attempted to essentially get Eric July canceled from San Diego Comic-Con at the SDCC booth. Lightning Creator Tony Isabella attempted to cancel ISOM creator Eric July at San Diego Comic-Con after he made an appearance at the CGC booth. July announced he would be at the CGC booth at San Diego Comic-Con on July 21st to promote his CGC Signature Series of ISOM. He tweeted, quote, 12 p.m. Catch me at CGC Comics /CGC Signature Series booth 901. You can see the tweet here. Twitter user Check the Circuit then attempted to lead a cancellation of July, writing, quote, Eric July, in his own words, and a pic he loves embracing Kyle Rittenhouse. This is who CGC chose to honor with a signing at San Diego Comic-Con, and who San Diego Comic-Con honored to have a panel and booth discussing an outright cruel, hurtful, and bigoted offense to the invitees and attendees. No, they just realized how popular his universe is, and they decided to bring him into the con as a guest. Nothing what you say matters, really. In response to this, Isabella tweeted, quote, come on CGC and Comic-Con, you can do better than empowering an unsavory, to put it mildly, person like this. He then added Jack Kirby would have punched him out. For context, it's likely Isabella is insinuating that July is a Nazi. Given Kirby detailed in an interview published in 1990, he would beat the stuffing out of anyone who liked the funny mustache man. You can of course see the tweet here from Tony Isabella, the creator of Black Lightning. When July asked him if he wanted to discuss, Isabella responded, quote, not in the least. Your denial of the existence and validity of trans kids alone is enough to tell me I don't need to communicate with you further. Trans kids are not real, dog. They're just not. You're a weirdo if you think so. I'm sorry. July replied, quote, so instead you want to snipe and go after my partners /vendors, and I'm against the mutilation of children. Minors are unable to consent, and it is evil to do such irreversible damage to them. What about that do you find so repugnant? Isabella would stop responding in the thread, but he continued to deride July on Twitter, writing, this morning's senior moment, commenting on a Comicsgate creep. He's not Comicsgate, just saying. He then revealed that he is in favor of butchering small children under the guise of transgender ideology. No decent, rational human being should give a second of their time to discussing anything with people who think medically proven and valid healthcare for trans kids is mutilation. This is, of course, a straw man, or I should say, something that's very incorrect. Something that's very, very incorrect. None of this has been medically proven, besides the fact that these people who essentially transition self-delete themselves very often, by the way, more than half of the percentage of them self-delete. And no, it's not valid healthcare, because cutting off the genitalia of children is not valid healthcare. Can we stop the bullshit? He then resorted to playing the victim, as all those who get called on their heinous acts eventually do. So now I'm being called a racist, and it's only a matter of time before Rich Johnson starts riding my ass again, he tweeted. He concluded the thread, I fear I will be spending way too much time blocking these creeps. Well, you're the only creep considering that you're for child mutilation and you think trans kids exist. You're the only creep here. Just you. My fault for letting them get to me with their right-wing BS. So it's right-wing to not want to remove the genitalia of children. Yeah, you're an idiot. July will later upload a video make it clear what his position is on mutilating children in the name of transgender ideology. Quote, my position on this whole trans kids thing is very simple. There's no such a thing. It is something that is facilitated by adults, and that's who it is coming from. Children cannot consent. I want to be firm as I possibly can on this subject matter. And to do irreparable damage, to do something like that is evil. Top surgery, bottom surgery, my position on this has been very consistent. Those are objectively bad things. And they are. 100%. July later stated, quote, what this all boils down to is there are certain comic pros that are a loud minority, especially on social media. Definitely after 2016, 2015, the whole Donald Trump phenomena. These guys started coming out of the woodwork, and you found out how much they despise half of the freaking voting population, half the non-voting population, and they take issue with folks. After explaining how he believes many of these comic pros are not happy about July's success with ISOM, believing they are the ones who own the comic book space, July asserted, quote, Tony Isabella is an idiot. Certainly, I do take exception to him trying to go after people that I work with. That's what these guys love to do. Nothing's going to happen, but that is what it is. They essentially have no power over Eric July, and they wish they did, but they never will, because he doesn't answer to the mainstream comic industry. He only answers to his fans and customer base. Isabella would respond to the video writing on Twitter, "I've been told a Comicsgate clown named Anger has done a YouTube video attacking me." Well, you threw the first punch. Let's just put it out there. You threw the first punch on Twitter, and you expected him to not respond to your dumbassery. And now you're playing victim, essentially. You don't need to post links to it here or send private messages to me. He's been in the comics industry for 5 minutes. I've been doing honorable work for 50 years, and yet no one gives a shit about what you have coming out versus what Eric July has coming out. He went on to double down on his position regarding butchering children. I called him on the trans kids comments. Decent folks know trans kids exist. No. Stupid people know that they don't know that they exist, quote unquote. They don't exist. Only weirdos and psychopaths think that. Their healthcare needs are medically and morally valid. No, they're not. They're children. They cannot consent, and they do not know themselves when they're children. They don't know how to dress themselves. They do not know what food to eat. They don't know what to do with themselves. But they're a sponge to everything around them. So how does that make any sense? And I've said this over and over again. These are points I've made in previous videos whenever this type of thing comes up in one of my videos. The benefits of the receiving gender care are confirmed by our history. They should not be denied this care. They should absolutely be denied this care because they're children, they cannot consent, and you're an idiot. I've been on the right side of history. No, you haven't. Since I started writing in comics, I'm still on the right side of history. No, you're not. He's claiming that, of course. Eric isn't. No, you're on the wrong side of history, but I'm sorry, but no. I'm ignoring / blocking him just as I'm doing with all his fellow deplorable Comicsgate creeps as they make themselves known. Again, you decided to come at this man's neck, and you thought you were going to get away with it. You acted like he wasn't going to respond and monetize your bitch ass. That's what happened. Isabella continued, I'm not scared of them. I'm disgusted by them. No, you're scared of them. Trust me. He concluded, I'll continue to do honorable work. I'll continue to be the best ally I can to the alphabet community because it's a decent thing to do, because it's the right thing to do. Thanks to all who have backed me in these noble pursuits. I guess, bud. Despite Isabella claiming he has moral ground, he does not. In fact, he's promoting extremely immoral and damaging behavior. I typically don't read the Jesus stuff, but Bishop Michael Burbidge of the Catholic Diocese of Arlington notes, gender-affirming medical or surgical interventions cause significant, even irreparable bodily harm to children and adolescents. These include the use of puberty blockers and effect chemical bad things to arrest the natural psychological and physical development of a healthy child, cross-sex hormones to induce the development of the opposite sex, secondary sex characteristics, and surgery to remove an adolescent's healthy genitalia and top parts. These kinds of interventions involve serious mutilation of the human body and are morally unacceptable. He later declared to disregard or withhold information about the harms of pursuing transition or about the benefits of alternative psychotherapeutic treatments constitutes a failure in both justice and charity. 100% right. And we're just going to move on now to Mophead Boy, who yet makes another video talking about Eric July's wife. It's, of course, 21 minutes long. We're just going to play the 20-second clip.
My real thoughts of what I actually really think of her, as in, do I really think she's ugly? Yes. She's definitely ugly.
Still have yet to see you with a female and with you actually washing your hair.
And we'll get into the definition of ugly to me and
that sounds like an opinion, but also
in a moment. And I'm talking about look-wise.
The ugly part is you should be looking at a mirror and figuring out that you're ugly, which is why you don't have a female, clearly. So you want to take it out on other people who do. So, moving on to Elon Muskrat, who says, wow, you hired Dixon, who has been collaborating with an actual Neo person from WW2, and then reveal the artist on Dixon's book is the guy who was fired from Marvel for making these type of messages and images in his backgrounds. Not a good look, Eric. Wow. To which, of course, Eric responds, right? Eric, of course, responds. I have the message here. I thought I did. He responded, it's here, by saying, nobody gives a crap about your cancellation attempts. Shut your bitch ass up and leave our talent alone. You have no power here. in which he doesn't. This is, of course, the same guy who said this. He has one comic out with another one on the way. That won't fill a backpack, let alone a short box. It will take 40 years at his current rate to publish enough books to halfway fill that box with Rippaverse comics. You do know there are multiple variants of all the books, and just this year, there's probably going to be at least 2 books that come out, by my estimate. I'm not 100% sure on that. Don't quote me on that. But Alpha Core number 1 will go up for pre-order in the fall, and Yaira number 1 will go up for pre-order in the winter of 2023 by the estimates right now. Of course, that can change. It's just an estimate. Of course, we have people like Josh Friedmaster, who says, not enough people who know who Eric is for this to be a big success on just his website. The average comic goer will probably just think this is a knockoff Megalobox or something. Eric doesn't care about winning a war. He just wants money from angry young men. That's something he said on July 9th. Of course, this was ISOM number 1's campaign end. It's not a Rippaverse panel, but it will be funny seeing images of how empty this auditorium is. This is, of course, people that like to make these weird statements and don't see that there's a full panel here, of course. Right? Like this person. You can simp all you want. It won't change how empty his panel was. You saw that the panel clearly wasn't empty. There were, of course, other people that said the exact same thing. Like this guy. This is a panel no one will attend. Of course, they have this. He, of course, once he sees that, shifts the goalposts. The entire Nerdrotic / Eric July panel at Comic-Con is roughly the size of a small church service. Like Chris Chan's panel at that convention years ago was even bigger. Of course, Andrew, who is the Rippaverse creative and social media manager, right, will tell this guy, because clearly this dude has no money to attend Comic-Cons. He doesn't know anything about fire codes. I've been to plenty of Comic-Cons to know that that's actually a thing in all panel rooms. Says the panel halls have fire codes to abide by and a predetermined number of seats, you absolute muppet. Which is 100% correct. This is, of course, another person. That's it. 100 people. That's Comicsgate. That's Rippaverse. 100 sad over 40-year-old angry white male incels. Oh no, whatever will the comic industry do, they're going to take over. So, we have a 360 tour here, right? We have a 360 tour here of the actual panel room, right? Let's see. Let's see here. We have a couple females here, so you're wrong. We have a couple people with different skin color, so you're wrong. So, it's like these people would just make up nonsense and say a bunch of bullcrap. It was full to the point where you had people in the back even standing up just to get in here, just to be in this room. So you lose again. Your comics aren't thriving. Same guy that said this nonsense, right? Same guy that said this says your comics aren't thriving. Really? So over $2 million for campaign number 2. Over 3.7 million for campaign number 1. Yeah, his comics definitely aren't thriving, bud. Definitely not thriving at all, right? It's so pathetic how slow these people will sink, right? It's pathetic how low they'll sink and pathetic how much they'll move the goalposts and get consistently proven wrong time and time again. Oh, we're going to continue on with the Rippaverse Goalposts account now with some more people. Wow, this crap sucks. Highly embarrassing crap from this over here. Yeah, because a multi-million-dollar campaign definitely means it sucks. Sure, bud. Enough Tony Isabella is too much of a gentleman. No, he's a piece of garbage. From what I see, I do challenge Eric July to a public live debate with standard rules on an independent platform with an independent moderator with all claims and statements independently fact-checked, unless Eric is a coward, a chicken, or a liar. Yeah, that'll never happen, bud. It's okay. It's perfectly okay for you to be wrong with all your BS claims. Saying an independent platform, so you don't want to be monetized, essentially, and you want it to be basically someone that can moderate that you like, rather than being moderated between just you and him. So essentially, fuck off. Apparently Chuck Dixon is not a legend, according to this person. Oh, I've seen this guy. I've made videos on this guy before. Chuck Dixon is not a legend. He's a minor 90s talent who is generally considered fair to middling. Yeah, the guy who did a bunch of work with the Bat Family Yeah, definitely mid, right? Mike Baron is close to an actual legend, but he hasn't done anything in the mainstream in decades, and most younger fans don't care about his work. Which, by the way, I believe he said he would do work for the Rippaverse. So I can tell you right now, the moment that Mike Baron does something for the Rippaverse, you're going to complain about it and call him names. Guaranteed. I never backpedal. Neither of them are legends for anything but longevity. They clearly are, because it seems like a lot of people know who Chuck Dixon is. Dixon was a cog in the Bat Office in the 90s. You can't credit Nightfall to him completely. Name some other most iconic Batman stories he wrote. So what you're essentially saying is he made iconic Batman stories. Oh, I was very much into the comic journalism press back then, too. And believe me, more often than not, no one was talking about Dixon's work as if it was the best stuff ever. Dixon is not a legend. He's just been around for a long time. Have you ever noticed how I never gave an opinion on his work, whether I liked it or not? I'm merely going by what I know of the consensus of comic fans, and very few would consider him legendary. You clearly don't know anything about anything the comic fans are saying, because from what I've seen, a lot of people in the Rippaverse stream chats know who Chuck Dixon is. And they're excited for Chuck Dixon to be writing a book for a comic universe they're invested in. So you're wrong. Again. I also have this guy, right? Bro, how are you talking about inflated prices and analyzing the numbers of ISOM and other indie books when you had to use a calculator to figure out 160 by 2, which is 80, by the way. But hey, at least you bought the book. Let's take a listen.
You okay? What? You okay? Whatever. You know, let's see how many pages is Plot Hole. I'm trying to see the pages. So yeah,
so Plot Holes is a book that Sean Gordon Murphy made as an independent. I think he made like 200, somewhere between 260 and 280,000. He was the guy that did Batman White Knight, I believe.
166 pages. You know, 160 pages. You always gotta remember, you gotta do the math. You gotta do the math of this. You know, so 160.
This is, of course, basic math.
So you divide that by 2. So that's an 80 pages comic book. 80 pages, you know what I'm saying? But when it comes to
essentially, you hear him clicking that he clearly using a calculator.
To today's comics and today's indie creators, it's not about recouping investment. It's really about inflating profits.
He's not inflating profits. He's essentially paying the artist and letterer and pencil and inker what they deserve to be paid for their artwork and lettering and coloring.
And trying to drain and milk as much money as you can get from the potential consumer as possible. You know what I'm saying? And I bought it. You know, I bought it knowing that it wasn't worth the price I was paying for, because I bought it I invested in it to, you know, to showcase that it could be done. You know what I'm saying? It could be done. Something could be generated and made from someone else, you know. And also I'm going to be proving that the PDFs, because in the independent comic book section, there's a major scam going on. There's a major scam going on that they can't, or many creators won't give you, they won't give you a PDF for a book. You know, they won't give you the PDF.
Yes, because it's ripe with piracy. And Eric July specifically stated that he's for having physical media for comics, because that's what they've always been, is physical media.
PDF, but in reality, that's a scam itself. The reason, and I'll show you why it's a scam when they say I can't give you the PDF, I don't sell it, I don't have it, because the reason is that for you to print your book, and I'm going to show you this, for you to print your book, you have to send the printer a PDF. You got to send them a PDF, a digital.
Yes, something that he clearly didn't want available to everyone. What's the problem? I don't see a problem there. let's see. Gary doesn't actually create anything. He creates YouTube content, and he created a very successful podcast, but of course he didn't create anything, right? Gore hasn't made a movie in over a decade. He just recently came out with a documentary called Attack of the Show, so I'm pretty sure that's considered a movie. Rippaverse will tank within a year or two when its fans get bored of it. I don't even know who the other people are. Yeah, these are the people Hollywood is supposed to fear. Well, it seems like Disney is losing a lot of money on movies, so they're not really making any money. They're in huge amounts of debt. And according to reports, their parks are failing. That's supposed to be their big money maker. So we're into essentially the second year of Rippaverse, and it's still not failing. There's plenty of enthusiasm for things like Alpha Core number 1 and Yaira number 1 and ISOM number 2 and ISOM number 3. So clearly, all your whole statement here is just incorrect by every single measure possible. So all in all, Detractors will continue to move the goalposts no matter what Eric does, no matter what he puts out, no matter what people he hires. They're all just going to move the goalposts, shift the goalposts, cope and seethe, and continue to lose, and they just can't do anything about it, and they're going to continue to cry about not being able to do anything about it. Thank you all for checking out this video. I really do appreciate all the new subscribers, returning subscribers, new viewers, returning viewers. If you do like this video, hit that like button, comment below what you feel about all this, subscribe for more content, hit the bell for notifications, set the bell to all. That way you get notifications anytime I post a new video, and I will see you all on the next one. Peace.